Ukrainian forces have just unleashed one of their most audacious and complex attacks of the war, striking deep into Russian territory and hitting a critical economic artery. 4 hours. A relentless swarm of Ukrainian drones hammered a vital Russian port facility near Novorossiysk, a key hub for Russian oil exports on the Black Sea. This wasn't just a random strike, it was a highly coordinated, multi-wave assault that appears to have overwhelmed Russian air defenses and caused significant damage. Early reports flooded in, painting a picture of chaos. Residents described a night filled with the buzz of drones and the thunder of explosions echoing across the water. Videos shared online showed bright flashes lighting up the night sky, followed by the concussive booms of impacts and anti-aircraft fire. The scale of the attack was massive, with some sources claiming dozens of drones were involved, targeting not just the port infrastructure, but also a nearby oil refinery and electrical substations, plunging parts of the city into darkness. So what exactly was hit? The primary target seems to have been the port of Novorossiysk, a sprawling complex that handles a huge portion of Russia's maritime trade, especially crude oil and petroleum products. This isn't just any port, it's a multi-billion-dollar operation, absolutely essential to Russia's economy and its ability to fund the war. Think of it as a major cash pipeline for the Kremlin. The drones reportedly struck berths, fuel terminals, and railway lines connected to the port. The goal here seems clear: to disrupt, degrade, and inflict severe economic pain. One of the most significant targets within the port was the Novorossiysk fuel oil terminal and the Transneft Cheskheres oil harbor. These facilities are the final stop for oil flowing through major pipelines before it is loaded onto tankers for export. By hitting these terminals, Ukraine is aiming to choke off a primary source of revenue for Moscow. Every hour that these terminals are offline, every tanker that can't be loaded, translates to millions of dollars in lost income for Russia. This economic warfare is just as crucial as the fighting on the front lines. But the attack didn't stop at the port itself. Ukrainian intelligence seems to have had its eyes on another prize: Russia's so-called shadow fleet. These are the aging, often uninsured tankers that Russia uses to circumvent international sanctions and get its oil to market. They operate in the grey, switching off transponders and using deceptive practices to hide their origins and destinations. By striking the port while these ships are docked or nearby, Ukraine sends a powerful message. It tells the operators and insurers of this shadow fleet that nowhere is safe. The risk of doing business with Russia just went up dramatically, which could make it harder and more expensive for Moscow to sell its oil. Let's break down the weaponry used. This attack likely involved a combination of long-range, fixed-wing drones. We're talking about aircraft capable of flying hundreds of kilometers, navigating complex routes to avoid detection, and delivering a significant payload. Some of these drones are reportedly armed with warheads weighing up to 150 kilograms. That's a massive amount of explosives, capable of causing serious structural damage to industrial facilities like fuel tanks and loading gantries. The sheer number of drones, estimated to be over 100 in the broader regional attack, suggests a level of mass production and operational planning that is truly impressive. Ukraine has essentially turned drone warfare into an art form, using these relatively cheap systems to strike high-value targets deep inside enemy territory. The Russian response, as you might expect, was a mix of denial and damage control. The Ministry of Defense claimed to have shot down over 100 Ukrainian drones across southern Russia, including over the Krasnodar region where Novorossiysk is located. The regional governor initially reported that there were no casualties or major damage, a claim quickly contradicted by the visual evidence and reports of fires and power outages. This is a classic Russian information strategy: downplay the success of Ukrainian attacks to maintain a facade of invincibility. But the videos of burning facilities and the sheer scale of the drone swarm tell a different story. It's clear that a significant number of drones broke through Russia's air defense umbrella. This raises a big question about the effectiveness of Russian air defenses. Novorossiysk is home to a major naval base for the Black Sea Fleet and is considered a strategic asset. It should be one of the most heavily defended areas in the country. Yet, a swarm of drones was able to penetrate its defenses and cause chaos for ours. This suggests that Russian systems, like the Pantsir and Tor, are being stretched thin. They might be effective against one or two incoming drones, but they are clearly struggling to cope with large-scale, coordinated swarm attacks. Ukraine is exploiting this vulnerability, using saturation tactics to guarantee that some drones will always get through to their targets. This attack is part of a much broader strategy. Over the past few months, Ukraine has been systematically targeting Russia's oil and gas industry. We've seen strikes on refineries all across the country, from the Black Sea coast to hundreds of kilometers northeast of Moscow. The cumulative effect of these attacks is starting to show. Russia's gasoline production has reportedly dropped, forcing them to implement export bans and even import fuel from neighboring countries. It has a strategic campaign designed to cripple Russia's war machine at its source, its energy revenue. By making it harder for Russia to refine and export its oil, Ukraine is directly impacting the Kremlin's ability to pay for tanks, missiles, and soldiers. Think about the logistical genius behind this. Ukraine is fighting a country with a much larger military and economy. They can't compete dollar for dollar or tank for tank. So they are innovating. They are using asymmetrical warfare, leveraging technology and intelligence to strike where it hurts most. An attack on a multi-billion-dollar oil terminal with a fleet of drones. That cost a fraction of that price is an incredibly cost-effective way to wage war. It demonstrates a deep understanding of Russia's economic vulnerabilities and a willingness to exploit them ruthlessly. The psychological impact of these strikes cannot be overstated either. For the average Russian citizen living far from the front lines, the war can often feel distant. But when drones are exploding in a major city like Novorossiysk, when the power goes out, and when a key local employer is on fire, the reality of the conflict hits home. It shatters the Kremlinist narrative that life is proceeding as normal and that the special military operation is going according to plan. It creates uncertainty and fear, which can erode public support for the war over time. Looking ahead, we can expect to see more of these attacks. Ukraine has made it clear that it will continue to target Russian strategic assets, no matter how deep inside Russian territory they are. They are in a race to develop and deploy longer-range, more powerful, and more intelligent drones. Some analysts are even talking about the use of AI to help coordinate these drone swarms, making them even more difficult to defend against. As Ukraine's capabilities grow, the list of potential targets inside Russia gets longer and longer. No critical infrastructure, be it a port, a refinery, a factory, or a bridge, can be considered completely safe anymore. This massive drone strike on Novorossiysk is a game-changer. It represents a new phase in the conflict, where Ukraine is taking the fight directly to Russia's economic heartland. It's a bold, calculated, and highly effective strategy that demonstrates Ukraine's resilience, ingenuity, and unwavering determination to win. The message to Moscow is loud and clear. As long as you continue your aggression, your most valuable assets will remain in the crosshairs. The economic cost of this war is about to get much higher for Russia. Thanks so much for watching. What do you think this means for the future of the war? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this analysis insightful, please hit that like button and subscribe for more updates. We'll be following this story closely. Stay safe and see you in the next video.